Greetings to all. My name is Abhishek Choudhery. I am a final year student of University School of Management Studies, Guru Gobind Singh Indraprasth University. Today I am going to discuss about the corporate social responsibility and human rights. What is corporate social responsibility? The concept of corporate social responsibility is generally understood to mean that corporations have a degree of responsibility not only for the economic consequences of their activities but also for the social and environmental implication. This is sometimes referred to as a triple bottom line approach that considers the economic, social, environmental aspect of the corporate activity. Various terms are used to describe CSR initiative include corporate responsibility, corporate accountability, corporate citizenship, and sustainability. The meaning and the value of CSR may differ in various contexts depending on local factors including culture, environmental conditions, and the legal framework. Now, what are human rights? Human rights are the right inherent to all human beings regardless of race, sex, nationality, ethnicity, language, religion, or any other status. Human rights include the right to life and liberty, freedom from slavery and torture, freedom of opinion and expression, the right to work and education, and many more. Everyone is entitled to these rights without discrimination. We have an international human rights law that lays down the obligation of government to act in certain way or to refrain from certain acts in order to promote and protect human rights and fundamental freedom of individual or groups. One of the great achievements of the United Nations is the creation of the comprehensive body of human rights law, a universal and the internationally protected code to which all the nations can subscribe and all people aspire. The United Nations has defined a broad range of internationally accepted rights including civil, cultural, economic, political, and social rights. It has also established mechanisms to promote and protect these rights and to assist states in carrying out their responsibility. We also have a Universal Declaration of Human Rights, which is a milestone document in the history of the human rights, drafted by the representatives with different legal and cultural background from all regions of the world. The declaration was proclaimed by the United Nations General Assembly in Paris on 10th December 1948 by the General Assembly Resolution 217A Section 3 as a common standard of achievement for all people and nations. It set out for the first time fundamental human rights to be universally protected. Since its adoption in 1948, the UDHR has been translated in more than 501 languages, the most translated document in the world, and inspired the constitution of many newly independent states and many new democracies. The UDHR, together with the International Covenant on Civil and Political Rights and its two optional protocols, and the International Covenant on Economic, Social, and Cultural Rights and its optional protocol, form the so-called International Bill of Human Rights. What are the economic, social, and cultural rights that are presented to all human beings? The International Covenant on Economic, Social, and Cultural Rights entered into force in 1976 and had 164 state parties by the end of October 2016. The human rights that covenants seek to promote and protect include the right to work in just and favorable conditions, the right to social protection, to an adequate standard of living and to the highest attainable standard of physical and mental well-being, the right to education and the enjoyment of benefits of cultural freedom and scientific progress, civil and the political rights that are inherent to all the human beings are the International Covenant of Civil and Political Rights and first optional protocol entered into the force in 1976. The Covenant had 167 states parties by the end of 2010. The second optional protocol was adopted in 1989. The Covenant deals with such rights as freedom of movement, equality before the law, the right to fair trial, presumption of innocence, freedom of thought, conscience, and religion, freedom of opinion and expression, free peaceful assembly, freedom of association, participation in public affairs and elections, and protection of minority rights. It prohibits arbitrary deprivation of life, torture, cruel or degrading treatment or punishment, slavery, and forced labor. Arbitrary arrest or detention, arbitrary interference with privacy. Then we come to what do human rights have to do with CSR? Human rights are relevant to the economic, social, and environmental aspect of the corporate activity. For example, labor rights requiring companies to pay fair wages affect the economic aspect. Human rights, such as the right to non-discrimination, are relevant to the social aspect, and the environmental aspect of corporate activity might affect a range of human rights, such as the right to clean drinking water. So, while the primary responsibility for the enforcement of international human rights standards lie with the national government, there is a growing acceptance that the corporate also have the important role to play. Corporations impact on human rights in significant ways. These impacts have increased over recent decades as the economic might and political influence of corporation has grown, and as corporations have become more involved in delivering services previously provided by the government. Corporations have come to recognize that part of a good corporate citizen include respecting the human right of those who come into the contact with the corporation in some way. These might be the direct contact or indirect contact, for example, worker or supplier or people living in area affected by corporation activities. Corporations are also responding to the fact that many consumers and investors expect corporations to act in a socially responsible manner. The extent to which a company implements a comprehensive CSR program can influence consumer and investor decisions. Now, what is happening on CSR and human rights at the international level? Over the past decade, the international community has made significant advances in examining and clarifying the link between corporations and human rights. A wide variety of voluntary initiatives have been developed by the individual companies, industry bodies, NGOs, intergovernmental bodies, and multi stakeholder groups. These initiatives include voluntary guidelines and code of conduct, monitoring and reporting procedures, and socially responsible reporting indexes. Under such activities, hundreds of corporations worldwide have publicly committed to uphold specific human rights standards. This illustrates the growing acceptance of the need for the corporation to simultaneously protect the interests of their shareholders, employees, customers, and the community in which they operate. Some prominent examples of international standards and initiatives regarding the corporation and human rights include the ILO Tripartite Declaration of Fundamental Principles and Rights at the Work, the United Nations Norm on the Responsibility of Transnational Corporations and Other Business Enterprises, the Equator Principles, the Global Reporting Initiative, the United Nations Global Compact, the Business Leader Initiative on Human Rights. The United Nations is further developing the expertise on corporation and human rights. In 2005, the UN Secretary General appointed the Professor John Ruggie as his special representative on business and human rights. One of the social representatives' main tasks is to identify and clarify the standards of corporate responsibility and accountability for transnational corporations and other business enterprises with regard to the human rights. Now we come to India. What is happening in CSR in India? India is the first country in the world to make the corporate social responsibility mandatory, following an amendment to the Companies Act 2013 in April 2014. Businesses can invest their profit in areas such as education, poverty, gender equality, and hunger as a part of any CSR compliances. Amid the COVID-19 coronavirus outbreak, the Ministry of Corporate Affairs has notified the company's expenditure to fight the pandemic will be considered valid under CSR activities. Fund may be spent on various activities related to the COVID-19, such as the promotion of healthcare, including preventive healthcare and sanitation and disaster management. Since the applicability of mandatory CSR provision in 2014, CSR spending by the corporate India has increased significantly. In 2018, companies spent 47% higher as compared to the amount in 2014 and 15, contributing around $1 million to CSR initiative according to a survey. Listed company in India spend 100 billion rupees in various programs ranging from education program, skill development, social welfare, healthcare and environmental conservation, while the Prime Minister Relief Fund saw an increase of 139% of CSR contribution over last year. Now, thank you.